everybody. Red Carruthers and Matt Carruthers here. Sorry, Matt, I'm just going to tell everybody off the top. I would have preferred a more high-profile guest, but I do appreciate you coming in to pitch hit. Real solid of you.
You said pinch hit, right?
Oh, is it not? Yes, pinch. Yes, I did. I said
pinch. Pinch hit.
I did not say pitch hit. I said pinch.
Right. I'm there in a pinch.
Well, thank you. No, you're a fabulous guest. There were a few people who I had on my radar, didn't pan out, but we might have a really cool actual farm visit that came out of some talking, trying to arrange something. So I'm looking forward to that. But let's get right into it because, we've got a really big weekend of racing ahead. Of course, the Derby prep action continues with the Grade 2 Rebel at Oaklawn Park. But before we get to that, let's give some love, hello, to the Blacker family. I mean, how amazing, right? I'm talking about Hit the Road, getting that Grade 1 win in the Frank Kilroy Mile for Dan Blacker, his first Grade 1 win, one of, I'm sure, many to come. And we all saw that really heart-moving video of our colleague in the racing world, Christina Blacker, just taking it all in.
Yeah, I know. It's great. I feel like I've known Christina basically since she was out of college, since she graduated from USC. So I've known her for a long time. She's great people. She's really good at what she does. And I've gotten to know Dan, obviously not as well as I know Christina, but I've gotten to know Dan fairly well. And yeah, just thrilled for them. And he's done an amazing job with that horse because, obviously he won a Grade 1, but that horse had a lot of setbacks too. I know he ran, he's a 4-year-old now, and obviously he ran in the juvenile turf as a 2-year-old. 2019
and 2019. Yep.
And I remember talking to Dan. I just happened to run into him, I think. Obviously, you have a horse in a Breeders' Cup race, you have a million things to do, but we kind of crossed paths. And so I asked him about his horse, and he really liked, and the horse got crushed betting. It was bet way down and had a terrible trip and bumped into some horses and was DQ'd and placed last. I think he was very upset because he was expecting a big performance from this horse, obviously over a turf course that we know now that he loves at Santa Anita. So, you can be right and wrong at the same time in this game. That's why it's frustrating. He was right about his horse. It's just in that circumstance that day, stars weren't aligned. But he's had injury problems. I think he's only raced 5 times since that race, and now he's 4. So that's about 18, 17 months, only 5 starts, and now a Grade 1 winner. And in a day and age in which a lot of these Grade 1 races, in my opinion, are just Grade 1 in name, they're not really Grade 1 in quality. That was a really, really good race. That was an old school Grade 1 on Smooth Like Straight. Your favorite is the horse that he beat, who ran second. So it was a really deep, contentious field in the Kilroy Mile 6 days ago.
Yeah, and here we go. Another horse is showing that the Future Stars Friday card showcase for those stars of tomorrow. Hit the Road, now a Grade 1 winner. Congratulations again to the Blacker family. That's amazing. But now let's get to it. Let's talk about the Grade 2 Rebel goes off as race 11 at Oaklawn Park. We do have a Future Stars Friday alum in this race in Keep Me in Mind, who's drawn post 6, installed at 4-1 on the morning line. This horse has not raced since the Kentucky Jockey Club on back on November 28th at Churchill Downs, and that was his first start since a Shodo finished 2 lengths beaten behind Essential Quality in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Do you think this horse has a shot in here? I know we got it tough. We've got Bob Baffert looking for what, his 5th Rebel? What is it?
I don't even know. It's just, he's owned this race. He's owned the Arkansas.
Even bigger than that. I don't know. I should look that up.
Yeah, I would think maybe even more than that. But I'm not 100% certain. But how about this race being? We're still 2 preps from the Derby, right? This isn't their big race. This is the prep for the Arkansas Derby, obviously the prep for the Kentucky Derby. This is the Grade 2, as you mentioned. It's $1 million. How many Grade 2 $1 million races are there? Just giant money at Oaklawn Park. And in a race like this, $1 million, you asked me about Keep Me in Mind. You know, I think I think your guy, my guy, Craig Milkowski.
He's going for his 8th. What I was way off. I was way off. He won with Nadal last year.
Yeah, that sounds right. I mean, he's, you know, and I don't know how many times he's lost, probably a couple. So, and he's going to lose in this race, right? Because he has 2. He can't, unless it's a dead heat. But anyway, I think Milkowski on Twitter the other day said something like 7 horses out of the Kentucky Jockey Club have raced since that race, and they're 0 for 7. So it didn't look like a strong race. The figure came up slow, and horses out of that race aren't doing very well. The fillies ran faster that day at Churchill. The 2-year-old fillies did. So I don't know. And the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, the TBG Juvenile.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yes, Ava. I don't know what she wants here. I don't know. Ava, I can't do this right now. I really – oh, maybe I did. Wow. You ever when you're under pressure?
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm opening right now. It's
good.
Wrapping paper, maybe? Maybe it's wrapping paper.
Okay.
I'm not sure what it is. But she wants to play with it. That's good for me right now. What was I saying?
We're talking. Yeah, go ahead.
No, that race was not particularly. It was slow, and you know. So, I know what I was saying. In the TVG Juvenile, yeah, the pace was really hot, but you know, Essential Quality was off of it, but he wasn't ridiculously far off of it, right? Hot Rod Charlie, the runner-up, was off that pace, but wasn't ridiculously far off of it. Keep Me in Mind was. So he might have really benefited from that pace up front, being 17 back early, 45-1. So, I mean, I know he ran well in the Breeders' Futurity. That was still an easy win for Essential Quality. He still beat him by more than 3. His only really good race, and it was a really good performance, it was, but he was definitely helped by the pace. But, you know, your 2 favorites in this race, Cadeau River and Concert Tour, if, you know, they just worry about one another and don't respect anybody else and go too fast up front, maybe Keep Me in Mind can be the horse from off the pace. I think if you like Keep Me in Mind, I think he'll get better than the morning line. I think his odds will go up a little bit from 4 to 1.
Caddo River, your slight favorite at 9 to 5 over Bob's Concert Tour being 2 to 1. We did see Cowan, who finished second to Caddo River, 10 1/4 lengths back, mind you, put in a game runner-up performance in the Saudi Cup. So
he did. He did. He ran second in the Saudi Cup to a. Not that I want to talk about that pick 3 right now, but that was the first leg of the late pick 3, and a 35-1 shot. I think beat him by a length or a half length. I think.
Yeah, but this is following up. Caddo River was following up a 9.5 length victory in main special weight at Churchill Downs. So what do you make of this horse? Like you're saying, you think that this horse could potentially hook and cook and maybe leave the door open for something?
Well, I mean, I think that's how somebody else. No, I'm just saying. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying that's how somebody else wins, right? I mean, it looks like it's probably one of the big 2. But if somebody else wins, and that's how I sort of see it in my head, how that plays out with somebody pulling the upset, that those 2 go too fast up front. You know, Cadeau River, we'll see, you know, what he has here, because we know he has a lot of physical skills. I mean, you mentioned he's won his last 2 starts by 19 3/4 length.
What is going on in there?
I don't even.
He does this on purpose every time. I'm sorry.
She's okay. He's won his last 2 by 19 3/4. So we know the talent is ridiculous, but he hasn't won a close race yet, right? And so, I mean, at some point, unless he's, you know, the next Secretariat, he's which he's probably not, because nobody is, he's going to have to battle. So we don't know if he has that in him at this point. I'm not saying he doesn't, but we don't know if he does. The thing I like about his win, Ren, and the Smarty Jones, I went back and looked at the charts that day. Obviously, they have no grass racing at Oaklawn. So there were 9 races that day at Oaklawn. Okay. There was 1 wire-to-wire winner.
And it was him.
It was Cadeau River. So
wow, that's impressive.
It was it was I thought a pretty significant closer day. And the second and third place finishers, you know, Cowan's he was 5th early on. Big Thorn was last. The horse who ended up finishing 3rd was last early on. So that was a big time performance. And you know, I don't know, as of right now, I mean, this isn't a slide on Cadeau River. This is Brad Cox's 3rd best 3-year-old, right now.
Yeah,
this race. I mean, that could change in a matter of 24 hours. Yeah, Mandaloon probably in front of him right now. It's close, and we know he's number one. So, I think he's going to run big.
Okay.
And I'm wondering right now, like if you can make a prop bet in Vegas, it take every other, there's Brad Cox and Baffert 3-year-olds versus the field.
You probably could.
Cox and Baffert would be favored, I think, right now over the field for sure. And I think the more I looked at that race, as I told him, went into the charts and stuff and saw that performance, and that was his first start in about 10 weeks. This is a really good racehorse on paper. Looks like he's training lights out since. So we'll see. I guess you go from the inside with Florent, and you probably try to get the lead from Concert Tour drawn to the outside. I would think that Joel is going to be forwardly placed, but I think the idea is to be in front of Concert Tour early, be in front of everyone.
What do you make of the fact that Get Your Number is in here after, proving successful in that first lone start on dirt in a grade 1 in the American Pharoah, which was a winning year in for the TVG Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He did not end up going. He's been off since. This is a hard spot to come back. This
is the horse that I think I would bet.
Oh, okay.
In this race, depending on the odds. I think you're right. We got to admit, we all love to pat ourselves in the back when we're right. And we also have to call ourselves morons. I try to do that because I'm wrong all the time. I thought that the grade 1 American Pharoah was one of those really bad grade 1s. I remember I'm going into the race. I'm like, ugh. And then after the race, I was like, yeah, of course. The horse that's only raced on turf won because it was a terrible race. Now looking back at it, maybe not, because you look at, the runner-up Rombauer out of that race did what? 5th in the TVG Breeders' Cup Juvenile, very good performance, then wins the El Camino Real. Those are his 2 starts since. Those are very credible.
Yeah, of course.
Spielberg was 3rd. Okay, he broke his maiden in his next start. Everyone's talking about what a disappointment he is, but he ran really well in the Southwest, didn't he? I mean, he did not break well at all, and he was second to a horse that a lot of people think is the best 3-year-old in the country in essential quality. He's 1 or 2 on every list. So, you beat Rombauer and Spielberg, and you do it kind of nicely in your dirt debut. You've only raced 3 times. I know there's a layoff to deal with now, which makes it difficult. You haven't raced in 5+ months. You won your first start, so you've run well fresh, but not against this caliber. But I like the win in the American Pharoah more now than I did right after the race. Mm-hmm. And I think he's a horse, obviously, who has speed. But he did rate a little bit in the American Pharoah. He's probably gonna be a little bit further back in this race. And Javier, who got injured, had knee surgery. Then he had, I think, bouts with COVID. He was a little rusty out of the gate. All elite athletes, not all, but most usually are. But he started to kind of light up at Gulfstream about a week. You could see Javier starting to come into form a little bit. Uh-huh. And obviously, when he's in form, he's as good as anyone. So I think this might be the price horse at 8-1. Initially, I was thinking Hozier Hozier, I think, the other Baffert.
Hozier. He's named after the musician Hozier.
Oh, right. Ken was
singing that church.
All right. Ken was singing that song. I love that song. I'm sorry. It's right. It's just.
I had my friend Tom Ryan on, and he's part owner of this horse, and we discussed the naming process, because we also talked about Spielberg on that show. See, you come to my show, right, the Future Stars Friday Forecast, and I give you the scoop on the horses before they even start running.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so Hozier, right, I forgot.
I love how dismissive. Okay.
Ken was singing that bad song yesterday.
Oh, sorry.
On air.
And he has a much better voice than I do.
I sing on air. The difference is, right, Ken can sing, and obviously I can't. His win at first glance, first time going a distance of ground. He's not even favored. He wins nicely. The figure is pretty good, 84 in the second start of your career by Pioneer of the Nile. Baffert's had pretty good success with the son of Pioneer of the Nile in this race, I believe. But then I looked at Fenway, who was the pace setter in that race. You know what Fenway did in his next start? He finished second to last at 8-5.
Oh.
He was 6th of 7 in his next start, and he had an easy lead in that race. I'm like, wow, what a win. He blew right by Fenway. It was a pretty good racehorse.
Did he just stop? I did not see this. Did he just stop?
And then Fenway, no, I mean, it was a nice win for Hozier, I would say. I don't think he just stopped. mean, he was definitely tired at the end, and the pace wasn't that hot, right? 47.
What about Fenway? Did Fenway just stop?
Yeah, I mean, kind of in the middle, I would say.
Start.
His last start, though, was, I mean, he regressed even. So I don't know what kind of field that was. It was a 6-horse field. So I think I prefer Get Her Number at a price. And we should probably talk about Concert Tour.
Yes, let's talk about Concert Tour. So already you're by the very first and one of only 2 horses to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile as well as the Kentucky Derby and Street Sense. And then your mom purse strings rather by Tappet. You have done nothing wrong in your 2 career starts. I always say when I talk about horses making a debut, I always forgive a bad debut, but I always am very impressed by a horse who can knock it out of the park at first asking, as he did, scoring by 3.5 lengths. Granted, that was a 5-horse field, but he put up an 88 buyer figure. And he's got obviously a pedigree to go longer, and that was at 6 furlongs. So what do you think of him? And then I'll talk a little bit more about his pedigree, because I want to name drop somebody very special who happens to be a member of the family.
Okay. I mean, he wants more ground, right? So
yes.
And it's the perfect 2-sprint stretching out 3rd start of your career with that 2-turn pedigree. So, the pedigree, it's on the surface. You'll dive into it more here in a moment. It looks fabulous to me. He beat a good horse in Freedom Fighter. He's a Baffert horse. He went to New York last weekend. He ran okay. He finished 4th in the Gotham. Wayburn pulled the big upset when he I think his buyer was 90.
46-1, I think.
Yeah, he paid over $90 for sure. So I mean, Freedom Fighter ran okay in that race, but not great. But
Matt, I'm going to cut you off for a second. We've got a lot of people watching right now. I just want anybody out there, if you have a question, you want to pick this guy's brain, by all means, you can type in your question, and I might show it if I think Matt will know the answer to it, because I don't want him to be put in a position to fail. But yeah, right. So, but yes, if you have a question, like for example, if you want to ask him if he thinks he or Dan Blacker has better hair, or if you have a handicapping question regarding one of the races this weekend, go ahead, ask it, and I will go ahead and pop it up there. But go on. You're talking about Concert Tour.
It's me, obviously.
Yes.
That question. I think, I mean, with the pedigree and the fact that he was Baffert and the improvement in the 2nd start of his career, and he beat a good Baffert horse in his last start. I mean, he definitely belongs in this race. Who knows how good he could be? But a lot of like another Baffert horse, like we saw with Life is Good. We've seen it with Justify. These horses that kind of burst on the scene. 10, 15 years ago, you'd be going, oh my goodness, we're almost in mid-March. And this horse is, I mean, he won the San Vicente at 7 furlongs, but he still only raced twice, but it doesn't mean anything anymore. It doesn't. I mean, he wins this race or runs 2nd, and maybe he comes back in the Arkansas Derby, and that's fine from a seasoning standpoint now for this horse. So we'll see. Joel at Oaklawn to ride, talk about elite. He's as elite as it gets. And I do like the fact that win the San Vicente was a 5-horse field. He sat 3rd early on behind the horse that finished 2nd and 3rd. So he got by Freedom Fighter, who was in front at first call at the half-mile pole. The 3rd place finisher was the horse that was 2nd early on. So the ability to pass horses, I think, important at the same time that he's tactical and now stretching out. So he might have that really, really kind of that nice, handy running style that you're looking for the Derby.
Yeah, I agree. And as you were talking about Joel Rosario, I just listened to an interview that he did with Jonathan Stetton and my friend Eddie C.
Oh, I heard that too.
I mean, he could not have come across more humble, I mean, this is an elite athlete. And he could not have been, again, more humble. I mean, how else can you say it? He's achieved so much, and yet he has no airs about him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know Joel that well, but I know him a little bit. And he's extremely nice.
Yeah.
And he's not one of those, some riders, and you even understand it, because this is their livelihood. It's competition in the middle of a race card. Some of them are a little icier. It's not because they're bad people.
No, they're just game on.
They're game on. Joel is very relaxed. He's one of those guys, like Espinosa's like that. But Rosario, very chill, as the kids say. They don't say it anymore. It's about 5 years ago. But he's just like, he could be, walking out in the paddock for a grade 1 of these. So I'm like, hey, smile, one of these. I mean, he's just really a relaxed person. So just that kind of demeanor.
We were all in line my friend and I, Ernie Munich, we were in line to get our COVID screenings ahead of Breeders' Cup. And I realized right in front of me is Joel Rosario. And I was like, oh, hey, do you mind hanging out right after you get your nose swab so we can do a quick little interview? And he was completely gracious, did the interview, all smiles. And that was after taking that. I mean, that was unpleasant. But I mean, it had to be done. But, anyway, he was very nice, great insight. And like you've been saying, I mean, you've got an elite rider here on Concert Tour who thankfully has been able to be aboard for both career starts so far. There are some horses, it doesn't matter who the jockey is, they're just that talented, but you do like to see a horse build a relationship with a regular rider, especially when they're a Derby hopeful. And another thing is, I mean, you've got some of these horses carrying more weight, like Caddo River's carrying 122, Concert Tour's carrying 117. Are you a weight guy? Are you not a weight guy?
I mean, I'm not really. I mean, and one of the reasons I'm not is because I'm old. I mean, I remember
the handicaps.
Yeah, I remember going to the track when you actually looked at weight, because it actually might have been significant.
Right.
Really good horses were consistently carrying between 130 and 100, maybe 3-4 pounds. That wasn't uncommon. 128, 132, 130. I mean, I think you look at. I grew up watching Affirmed out here. I think he was probably carrying about 130, 132 most of those races, and we can go, oh my goodness, it was a handicap race. Right? He's the best horse. He's got to carry. I mean, there's a reason why you golf against somebody who's better than you. They're so you try to make it even. They're better than you. They have a lower handicap. You can maybe compete against them. And that was the idea, obviously, with the handy, and it doesn't exist anymore. So, really good horses. I mean, I think at a certain point you acknowledge it, right? If it's a giant separation at a long distance, but horses like this, horses of this quality at 1 mile and a 16th, no, I don't think 5 pounds. I don't think the 5 pounds comes into play. I know some trainers I know disagree with that. They think the 5 pounds might mean a lot. I don't look at it.
It could mean a whisker.
What?
It could mean a whisker at the wire.
Maybe.
But so. I already kind of hinted at that. We've got somebody of note in the female family of Concert Tour. And I could tell you who, but instead, I'm going to show you. I'm going to preface it by saying what the connection is without saying this horse's name. I'll go to the video instead, okay?
Okay.
But Concert Tour's grandmother is a half-sister to a stakes winner named My White Corvette. And My White Corvette is the dam of somebody we all know and love. So let's go ahead and take a look at who it could be. Ready?
I am.
Let's go.
Sent on their way in the juvenile fillies. Pursuit of Glory broke just a little sideways. Quickest into stride is Be Smart, and she obviously wants the lead, and Be Smart sprints away. Sia Silk is going up second. Palacio de Moore is going to be caught wide. Van Leah Rose getting a good position.
I got to turn Trevor up here. I can barely hear him.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Let me turn him up.
Getting the perfect spot, 2 lengths off the leaders. They're not really flying.
Well, there we go.
It's good, but they're not flying on the lead. Then we come back here to Black Magic Mama, who's racing back in 6th. Now here's Do Re Mi Fa Sol La.
Have you guessed it yet? Probably not. Or maybe you have.
No, I'm just totally lost right now.
And behind that comes Dave's Revenge. Up alongside Dream Empress. Now here's the favorite Stardom Brown, who's bound as the great.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well, who could it be but Stardom Bound?
Consistently. They run past the half-mile pole and
John Sadler, right?
Now kicks
Yeah.
on for home.
Wow, they're flying 45-4.
Now here's Sky Diva still in the perfect
spot. Yeah, Sia Silk in there.
Sky Diva, she is on a loose rein note. She's going after.
Oh God, I need her in the Kentucky Oaks. Victor, right?
Here she comes.
She had a terrible draw in the Kentucky Oaks. Best horse, really wide.
Can she keep up this amazing run? Stardom Bound comes to strike the front as they turn for home.
The shoe's
Sia
special.
Silk tries
Yeah.
to battle on the inside. Dream Empress is coming home lately, but it's all Stardom Bound now. Sky Diva, Dream Empress chasing daily. Stardom Bound made that huge move. Dream Empress going to stretch it to the wire, but no. Stardom Bound is just plain too good.
Easy.
And Stardom Bound and Mike Smith have
Oh,
won it
Smith.
impressively.
That's
Dream Empress
right.
was second.
That's one. I think Victor wrote her in the Oaks, I think.
Dave's Revenge for third.
Of course.
I don't have that right in front of me, so I couldn't tell you. But to repeat, Concert Tour's grandmother, his maternal grandmother, is a half-sister to my white Corvette, who is the dam of Stardom Bound. Stardom Bound, a daughter of Tappet. Concert Tour's mother, daughter of Tappet. So here we have that same sort of, you know, when you know that a female family does well with a certain sire line, you try to take the mare
Sure.
to get bred to the horse that created something special when combined with that family.
That was neat. Well done. Well done.
You're welcome.
Well done.
You're welcome. So Concert Tour, you got the ped cred.
Yeah.
Let's see if you move forward in your third start, but also we're going to root, because this is the Future Stars Friday forecast presented by Breeders' Cup, for Keep Me in Mind.
Sure.
To be kept in mind.
I mean, it wouldn't shock me if the horse won, and it would definitely not surprise me if he got a really nice piece in the race.
Right.
So this is his first start as a 3-0. I think the morning lines, I think that the favorites might both go down in price. I mean, like Super Stock, nothing against the horse, but 6-1 on the outside. I mean, that horse is going to be 12, 15-1, I would think, in this race. So we'll see.
Can you believe we're already at 26 minutes? I'll speed things up, because who knows how much good behavior time we have left with Ava. And by the way, if I sound discombobulated a little bit, she woke me up 4 times last night. 4.
Is that it?
4 times. Okay. Now, before we get to the Grade 2 Rebel on the Oaklawn card, race 10, that's the Hot Springs. And you know who this features?
I do. The king of Oaklawn.
Well, actually, he kind of had a bit of a coronation at Breeders' Cup as well. Let's go ahead and see this replay, and then we'll talk about the race.
You want us to talk over this replay again or not?
You can if you would like.
And let's not forget, and CZ Rocket, who's also running in this race in the Hot Springs, was second.
Yes.
He actually runs great in this race too, because this is one of the few races that, like, you know, obviously there was the TVG Juvenile. The pace had to be ridiculously hot for closers to have any chance. And the pace was really hot. And CZ Rocket ran big because he was fairly close up to this pace. The 2-horse CZ Rocket. And where's Whitmore at this point? What number was Whitmore? He was that's him down the rail, right? Whitmore?
Yep, the 7.
Yeah. What a great horse. And when you're this good, and then you get this kind of trip, you get this kind of result, right? I mean,
yeah, I just remember screaming my head off.
It's CZ Rocket right there.
Oh my God, Nicky, as he's coming down the stretch. We're like, get out of town here. Oh, sorry. This is where those the preview things come up.
Yeah, we got it. We saw what we needed to see.
I mean, how cool is that? What a warrior horse this is. You know, he has amassed, let's see here. Let me pull 38 starts, 15 wins. I'm sorry, let's take that. Okay, so where is I? 38 lifetime starts, 15 wins, 11 second place finishes, 3 Shodo finishes. He's won $4,247,850. And I mean, Ramo Quet, how rootable is he? He's amazing. And thank goodness he changed this horse's name, because do you know what this horse was officially named before Ron was like, we gotta change this up. Do you know what his name was?
No.
His name was Pleasant Mel. And so it's like, because he's pleasantly perfect out of Melody Spirit. And he was like, this horse isn't so pleasant, because he's got a little bit of an ornery side to him. Not mean, but you know. So he named him Whitmore instead. And now
sprinters have that, right?
Huh?
A lot of sprinters have that, don't they?
Yes. And a lot of chestnuts too. I mean, there's always a joke about a chestnut mare. But can you believe he is going for his 5th straight Hot Springs score? How many horses, somebody posed this question, it's a great question. How many horses have won the same stakes race consecutively over whatever time span?
Yeah, I mean, this has got. I mean, I don't know the answer. I can't think off the top of my head of anybody that rivals 5 in a row.
It's insane.
So yeah,
it's a testament to Ron Moquett that he's kept this horse in such great condition all the time. This horse ran in the Kentucky Derby with Nyquist. Nyquist has been siring babies. Whitmore's still out there doing his thing. I mean, he's a gelding, but I mean, still.
Yeah. He's 9 for 14 at Oaklawn.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you mentioned the 4 wins in this race. He's won 5 other times at Oaklawn, which is, he won this race last year by 2.5 lengths. He beat Mr. Jägermeister, who's the 3 horse in this race for Valerie Lund, Midwestern kind of Canterbury connection, I think. Obviously rooting for Whitmore. CZ Rocket's probably going to run well, right? Again, he was part of the pace and the sprint. We haven't seen him since.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a really good racehorse. He won 4 in a row, 5 in a row going into the sprint. It was another, Peter Miller claims the horse for 40, wins for 50, wins optional 62.5, wins an optional 150, wins the Pat O'Brien, wins the San Diego Sprint Championship, and then runs second to Whitmore in the sprint. So he's going to run well. The price horse, if people are looking for a price horse, because as you'd expect, the pace is going to be hot. Flagstaff, they put the blinkers on this horse. This horse used to be lightning quick. He was kind of dull in his last start. So I can understand why Sadler's putting the blinkers on him. Second off the layoff, Joel will ride. So I'd say Flagstaff's going to show more pace. Mr. Jägermeister is pretty one-dimensional. He's very good at that one dimension. And then you have another really quick horse in Fire Crow, the 5. I think Engage could run a big race for Asmussen, the 4. Remember that performance he put forth in the Breeders' Cup Sprint at Santa Anita a couple of years ago?
I do.
He was.
But we're not going to try to beat Whitmore. We're just
No. I'm just saying, fine, put him underneath. I mean, you know how good Matoli was that day. I mean, that was freakish. And Engage was only beaten 4 lengths. And then he ran the Lafayette. That was an unbelievably live race at Keeneland Breeders' Cup weekend because Sleepy Eyes Todd, who won that race, then earned a 100.
I always think I don't mean to, but I always think of Todd Schrupp when I hear Sleepy Eyes Todd. Because he's like the only Todd I know. And
he's not sleepy. He's the opposite of Sleepy Eyes.
I know. He's
wide-eyed.
Yeah. But I just can't help it. I'm like.
Yeah, it's a way different Todd here. This is a way So with Sleepy Eyes Todd, Mr. Prospector, grade 3, Gulfstream, 100 buyer, and the 3rd place finisher, True Timber, Cigar Mile, for my guy Jack Sisterson, 106 buyer, Kendrick Carmouche. So I think Engage, and I watched that last start, that optional 80 race. Mm-hmm. It's one of those races where mid-stretch, you're in traffic and you go to the rail and things don't open up. And then you go to the outside and it's like you just kind of have nowhere to go. And you finally get through and kind of dive inside late and you've kind of lost your momentum and you've kind of lost everything and you only beaten a length. So I think he could run well, but yeah, we're all rooting for Whitmore. First start as an 8-year-old, first start since that unbelievable emphatic win that you showed in the Breeders' Cup Sprint. And, with some fans now at Oaklawn Park, it'll be pretty cool to see Whitmore try to do something that, as you mentioned, who knows how many times it's been done.
How crazy is it to think that this horse ran on this card back in 2016 in the Rebel Stakes and was second?
No, it's
the Rebel Stakes of 2016.
No, it's amazing. And then the one knock on CZ Rocket, as good as he was for Miller, maybe he's a different racehorse now for Pete. But he's never at the board in 4 starts at Oaklawn. But I think that was pre Miller. So I think he's probably a completely different racehorse now. So I would look at that, but I wouldn't CZ Rocket doesn't like the racetrack. He's a different horse now.
Okay, I'm going to shift gears. But again, best of luck, Whitmore. I can't hide my fangirliness with that horse.
No, I'm rooting for him too.
Awesome. He's just awesome. By the way, speaking of Oaklawn Park, also want to say, if they happen to see this, Caton and Mike Joyce, hope you have a lot of fun out there. They'll be out there covering the Rebel Stakes and the entire card. So
We're doing it today and Sunday too. Oh, and
Yeah.
by the way, let me, before I forget,
Yes.
the early forecast was like for Saturday.
Okay.
It looks good tomorrow.
Great.
The buckets of rain are going to come on Sunday, but
Okay.
tomorrow looks good at Oaklawn. And I know you asked me to go back and do a real brief chart work from yesterday.
I did ask you
today.
that.
And I almost forgot. It looked like yesterday at Oaklawn, not that you couldn't win from off the pace, but speed was good.
Okay.
And I would say the same thing for today. I think I looked at the chart for they've probably run a couple since we've been doing this, but like the first 6 races, I think that one horse came from off the pace, but basically it's an advantage to have speed like it usually is.
Okay. Well, there you go. And again, Kate and Mike will have all the coverage for you on TVG, a network you may know. And actually, Matt, you'll be out there for the Arkansas Derby, correct?
I will, and I've never been. It's the
Oh.
#1 U.S. track on my bucket list that I've never been. I've never been to Oaklawn Park, so
You bring us back a souvenir, okay?
I'm excited to go to the Arkansas Derby. I really am.
Well, again, we already talked about first, for example, Dan Blacker getting that first Grade 1 win. And Dan, actually, he's going to be taking on a horse that a lot of people will have their eyeballs on because he actually has a couple entries in race 2 at Santa Anita. It's a maiden special weight, 7 furlongs on the main track. And like I said, Dan, he's got the 1, Johann Zoffany. He also has the 2, Eyes Open. But Bob Baffert has a couple of entries in here as well, even though it's a 5-horse field. Bob's got the 3, Baraza, but he also has the number 5, Triple Tap. And why will people be keeping their eyes on Triple Tap? Well, because Triple Tap is the half brother to this guy. Hang tight. I'll show you who it is. If I can move the mouse. Here you go.
Of course, it's 4 to 5 morning line too.
American Pharaoh enters
Oh, there you go.
with a call of the Breeders' Cup Classic.
Triple Tap is a half brother to American Pharaoh, and he's a full brother to Chasing Yesterday. And we'll talk about more about that in a minute. But let's enjoy this.
Okay, I'm gonna be quiet.
A Triple Crown champion becoming Grand Slam champ.
And American Pharaoh bounds right to the front. He's going to take the early lead in the Classic, and FNX is away running in second. Frosted wrangled off the pace, and so too Totalist.
Speaking of Mike Joyce, he was there for this. He was at Keeneland.
And Keen Ice is right behind them as American Pharaoh passes the finish line for the first time. And then it's Glen Eagles, followed on the outside by Hard Aces, and Honor Code is last. And the first quarter mile goes in 23 and 4/5 seconds.
That long campaign really took its toll on him here,
And it
didn't
is
it?
American
You
Pharaoh
think?
setting it. And FNX is his closest pursuer. He is 2 lengths behind, running in second. Totalist, a Belmont Stakes winner, is third, 5 lengths off of a Triple Crown winner. And then
You just love
on the
this
outside,
stride, right?
Keen Ice is a
Oh
good
my
line
gosh, he is the
behind.
most
And
efficient
Glen
mover
Eagles
I've
races
seen
an
in
honor code.
my
Will do his
my
thing
lifetime.
later. He's 13 lengths off the lead. A half mile in 47 and 2/5 seconds.
I think Baffert's compared Life is Good.
Heads up the backstretch in Keeneland in the Breeders' Cup Classic.
The way he runs.
That's lofty praise for sure.
Yeah.
And then Totalist and
And I think, I mean, obviously to me, Secretariat is the greatest of all time. But as far as horses who have run while I've been alive, I've never seen a horse who, the movement is just so efficient. There's no wasted action.
So it's picked up a bit as they
Like,
head
so
for the front
consistent.
turn. American Pharaoh's lead is a length and a half. And now Victor Espinosa starts to pump on him and says, let's go. On the far turn, they're in front by 2. FNX continues to chase. And then comes Frosted and Totalist. And they're all put to full-out drive. And American
I knew he had an easy lead and it wasn't the greatest of classic field, but this was his best performance, though. Right? I mean, this was
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
fast and the figure was huge.
And then it's Frosted, Totalist, and Honor Code. American Pharaoh comes into his final furlong. And he's got
Listen to the screaming. I love it.
lead as they come to the wire. A Triple Crown winner, a Breeders' Cup winner, a horse of a lifetime.
Victor.
American Pharaoh has won the Breeders' Cup Classic over FNX and Honor Code in a final time of 2 minutes.
Oh, you see the smile just slowly come over Victor's face. That
Like
time.
a 1.25 miles in 35 and 2. I know it was that fast.
Yeah, that because he makes it look easy. He makes it look so effortless. I love it.
Oh,
Yeah, baby. Yeah, scream. Woo!
wow. Tom Cassidy going crazy. Insane.
Look at the stands. It's I miss those days. Oh. They've been so nice. We got so much access to this horse. Oh.
American Pharaoh, his legacy.
I can let this
as one
keep
of
playing,
racing's
but we've got to
all-time
show this.
greats
Oh, I'm
is
sorry.
assured
I'll wait a minute
with
longer.
dominating victory in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Wow.
Yeah, he's not even tired.
You were there for his Triple Crown
I was.
score. I'm so jealous of that.
Yeah. It's right.
But
I mean,
I couldn't get off work.
it's at the top of my. I mean, I've been to 3, 4, 5 incredible sporting events, and obviously that's at the top.
Well, he made history that day because the Breeders' Cup it didn't exist until 1984. So there had been no Triple Crown champion to even try to win the Classic. And so here's Pharaoh, the first horse to have the opportunity, and he knocked it out of the park. And that is a horse that I think brought so many new people into racing. He was on the cover of Vogue, right?
Yeah.
So now any horse who happens to be a sibling is going to have, the weight of that history on their shoulders. But we don't want to put that pressure on them. Every horse is unique. But we do have Triple Tap, the half-brother by Tappet of American Pharaoh, entered in race 2 at Santa Anita. He's drawn post 5. He's been installed at 4 to 5 on the morning line. He's got Flavian Pratt aboard. Look at the work tab. If you have your PPs open, check out how many bullet drills this horse has on the work tab. I'm actually going to show one of his works. It's not one of the more recent ones. I couldn't find the video for that. And I'm sorry, Matt, I know you're TVG, but this is XBTV, although you guys have worked with showing works from them in the past, right? Good relationship there. So just going to show past work here of Triple Tap, just so people can get an idea of what he looks like. And there he is. He's on the outside here, working, funny enough, with a son of American Pharaoh. That is pretty funny. I didn't even realize that before. But we'll get a good look at him here. A good solid 4 furlong drill in 48-1. And this is back on January 9th, mind you. And look at what fabulous condition he already looks. You'll see when he comes around the turn here.
And he's worked like 8 times since this too. So
and you do see he's working in blinkers, by the way, but it does not appear that blinkers will be on tomorrow. Now, again, half brother to American Pharaoh, full brother to Chasing Yesterday. She won 5 of 7 starts, including the Grade 1 Starlet, also owned and bred by Summer Wind Farm, and Summer Wind Farm owned by the lovely, the wonderful, the beautiful Jane Lyon, who just adores these horses. She's got little Princess Emma there on the farm, and hopefully, it was so nice because she, I asked if she could come on the show, and she was just so busy because she's actually flown out to watch the race, and she she said that maybe we could do an interview after if he wins, it'd be even better, and we can do it at the farm. So that would be great to go see little Princess.
That would be great. In person. It would be. I love the first time start. I always like, ideally. Doesn't always work out. Things aren't always ideal, right? But ideally, I like 2 gate drills. That's what this horse has. 2 gate drills, 59-3, bullet 32, and that recent 59 flat gate work, quickest to 68. So to me, if you see a lot of gate drills, that to me that's a sign that the horse is maybe a little too green. They keep having to bring the horse back to the gate. But I like to see 2, and you also like to see
a 6 furlong drill on there too.
Yeah, that helps. But consistent work tab, and this horse first worked December 19th, and I don't think it's basically every week to 10 days, right? 7, 8, 9 days between every work. So you don't have that, there's been no hiccups. It doesn't appear. There's been no gaps, no breaks in training for this guy. So if he loses, and he's probably not, I think it's probably eyes open, one of the blacker horses, because that horse's last dirt race, they tried grass. And when good trainers experiment with something doesn't work, they abandon. They're not obstinate and try to do it again. So he went a mile on turf and it didn't work. So let's go back to what this horse does better, that is sprinting on dirt. That second place effort, 2 starts back, as time goes by, who beat him, that's another Baffert horse, of course, who's really good. Out of that race, he won an allowance race, freaked, 99 buyer by 1 million lengths. So that's a good racehorse who beat Eyes Open in his last dirt start. I think he tossed the grass fiasco. He's the horse probably who's going to be second, maybe second or third choice. Barraza, I know, is the second choice, but I think he has the best chance of beating Triple Tap if Triple Tap's not quite ready and a horse with seasoning at this juncture is better. Many times that's the chance. That's the only chance you have to beat a horse with that kind of talent and pedigree, right? Is their first start if you've already raced a couple of times.
I'm also noticing 2 interesting things here as I look at the past performances. Triple Tap, Triple Crown nominated, and debuting without Lasix. And you cannot be on Lasix if you want to run in, any of the. I think this goes beyond the Derby itself. I think Preakness and Belmont too. I'm not sure. I'd have to double check on those 2, but I know the Kentucky Derby.
Right to me.
So I find that kind of interesting. And we are talking about how it just doesn't seem to be, a pattern anymore for horses who do get on the trail. Do you think I'm reading too much into that, or?
No, even look at Barraza. Maybe they thought this horse was going to be a horse like that, and he's been kind of a disappointment. So now Bob's he's not as reluctant to go Lasix. So they go Lasix for the first time with Barraza.
But again, Triple Tap's Triple Crown nominated too.
Right. Oh.
So that's the combination of those things that make me go, what's going on? And
with that pedigree, obviously their expectations are
And here's another fun little bit of information for you regarding Triple Tap. He's named Triple Tap because he was born. Apparently, Tappet and Little Princess Emma have the same birthday, and so he was born on the same day as his parents, and so he's Triple Tap.
Wow, that's quite the kegger.
I'm almost sure. Let me just double check on that. I want to make sure I'm not crazy because I believe that's what the story was. So Little Princess Emma, born February 27th. Let's see here. Tappet is, survey says, February 27th.
Yeah, no, hey.
So yeah, he's Triple Tap because he's got that birthday.
I like that. Clever.
Parents. Yes. Well, I love it. And again, I adore Jane Lyon. So I really hope that this horse, runs to their expectations tomorrow. It's his first start. We don't need to put any pressure on him, huh?
Race 2, a little after 4 Eastern.
Race 2, 104 Pacific. So,
right.
Okay. You know what? I think we know. I have a little bit more for you. I'm sorry. Speaking of Triple Tap, and again, I told you, half brother to Pharaoh, full sibling to Chasing Yesterday. Chasing Yesterday, I had her first baby. I think it's her first baby. Let me see here. Wait, it might not be her first. I'd have to double check on that, but she sure is cute. We have, let's see here.
Was she born February 27th?
No, this baby was born on February 25th. February 25th. And we've got a baby filly by Curlin.
Let's do it all together, folks. 1, 2, 3. Oh,
How sweet is this? I mean, look at that.
That's a great photo,
isn't it? And again, I might have misspoke. This, because chasing yesterday, I don't know.
She was super precocious too.
Oh gosh, yeah, she was really good. Let me see here, early on, and then I think her
really fast.
Oh yeah, let's see her. I'm just trying to look and see the progeny. This might be her first foal. I'm not 100% sure,
right.
But this is a Curlin.
I bet it is.
Curlin filly, and then look at this photograph.
Yeah, that's terrific.
There's Jane with the baby girl.
Yeah, that's neat.
Yes, and then she's just getting used to being being in the world there.
Mm-hmm.
Nuzzled in her straw. So sweet. These photographs taken by Michelle McDonald, who takes, I think, just about all the photos there at Summer Wind Farm. And what an eye she has. I want to be sure to give her a shout out and a lot of love for sharing these images, because again, these are great. These are absolutely beautiful photographs. So Michelle McDonald, thank you again for letting us all enjoy the beauty of chasing yesterday and her Curlin filly. I'm glad you remembered to do that. I am too. I don't know how I don't know how that could have escaped my memory, because I think that you'd have been peeved. I would have stopped this, and I would have gone up there and I would have been like, oh man, you know what I forgot to do? Right. But yeah, so we've had a great show. We gave a shout out to the Blacker family on Hit the Road, who went from Future Stars Friday also ran to Grade 1 winner. We previewed the Rebel Stakes. We've got a Future Stars Friday TVG juvenile alum in there and Keep Me in Mind, but we also have a horse with a connection to a Breeders' Cup juvenile filly and Eclipse champion 2-year-old filly in Stardom Bound in that race. I'm talking about Concert Tour. We gave some love to Whitmore, who's going for his 5th straight Hot Spring Stakes score. And this is going to be his first race since winning the Breeders' Cup Sprint. And we previewed the debut of American Pharaoh's half-brother, Triple Tap, who will be in race 2 at Santa Anita tomorrow. And we also gave some love to his full sister, chasing yesterday, and her newborn Curlin filly. Hello. We did a lot. We covered a lot. We did a lot. That's all we can do. That's all we can do. And Whitmore, we hope he wins. And then hopefully I'll get to see him in person, because I think the Count Fleet's probably the same weekend as the Arkansas Derby. I would think it's maybe it's the next, I don't know. Ron would let me visit at least. At least I could visit. Visit. Of course he will. Yeah. I mean, you guys have shared silks together, so. Good point. Now I have to say real quickly. We have a friend on a site, Cianello. It's all about the girls. They have their own silks, and she had a party at Saratoga, and Ron Moquette, who trained some of their horses, was there, and it's all about the girls' silks were also there. So the guys all felt that, they should model those silks and see who wore it better. So, Ron, you, and oh my gosh, Jeremiah. I think Jeremiah may have worn those silks best. I think probably. Yeah, it was liquid courage at its finest. Let's put it that way. So yeah, Arkansas Derby is April 10th. Hopefully you will be back in time. April 12th, which is my birthday. But your birthday's not February 27th. It's April 12th. Right. Yeah. I'm an April baby. Okay, everybody. I hope you had fun with this broadcast. Hopefully we'll have lots of more fun things in store to talk about next week. I may be moving this to Tuesday, because one of the problems I've found that I'm having, no offense to Matt, because Matt, you're a great guest. You bring a lot of insight. And you also are able to not root for the horses that I need to root for, because you're impartial. And so that's always good for those who want some handicapping advice. But as far as getting a trainer or an owner or a jockey or somebody along those lines on the show, I think it's better if I do these on Tuesdays. I do work this Tuesday, though, by the way. Oh, that's right. You do. TVG fans out there. I'm working a rare Tuesday. Oh, that's
I
right.
think in the evening, I think.
Oh, it's going to be an evening.
It's
thing.
4 to 8 Eastern, I believe so.
Ooh, Matt Carruthers.
Me talking harness, nothing better.
You're going to talk harness?
I don't know what the hell am I going to talk about Tuesday evening. I
How do
don't.
you approach something like that? We got a few minutes left if we want to make it an even hour. How do you, when you have to look at something is not your forte? How do you look at the
I don't.
TCs? Is it foreign to you? Do you like
Yes.
phone a friend? Do you call TC and be like, "Yo, how do I handicap for
Usually
harness?"
he sends me the races. I don't even know how to get them.
Oh my gosh, we got to give Future Stars Friday forecast. We've had friends who've had babies. We got to give some love to them too. Okay. TC and Audrey Cassidy, beautiful baby boy. I can't remember the actual day on which he was born.
Well, there you go.
You froze there for a second.
Yeah, I think you're
But
the shot.
I mean, he's absolutely precious. I don't have anything to pull up like real quick to show, but beautiful baby boy. And then our friends, the Rotundos, Pete and Shona, they had their precious little Rosie born, and she is just adorable. So congratulations. And also, I mean, I don't know Dottie Miller that well, but she and her husband's a jockey. Oh my gosh, Rosales. They had a little boy.
And Greg Wolf.
Yes.
Greg Wolf and Laura, they had a little boy.
Oh, little boy.
William Grayson Wolf.
Oh my
about
God.
a month ago.
That's amazing. So you got the next generation coming on.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, I will say this though. We're doing parenting right. I don't know if any of y'all saw that video of Ava rooting on Maxfield in the big cat to no avail, but rooting on Maxfield, and she go horsey go. And I could not have been more proud. I had to whip out my phone as she started rooting for him instead of paying attention to the race because I was so taken aback by how invested she was in the race. And it was also really special to hear Frank Miramati, you know, to have her rooting on a horse with Frank Miramati doing the call made it all the more special to me because Frank's a dear friend. And so I think that was a really cool moment. I'm sad about Maxfield. However, still, I will say that.
She was a natural. She was a natural cheering on the horse she wanted to win.
Do we, by the way, real quick, do we know where Maxfield's going next or no?
I don't. I haven't heard.
Okay. Well, hopefully we see him get back in the winner's circle real soon. Anyway, I hope you all had fun with us. I need to go make dinner. I don't know what I'm going to make, but it'll be something that Matt will thank me for anyway, even if it's not that good. Okay, talk to you hopefully next week. We'll see what we can manage. And yes, best of luck on all your bets this weekend. And at Tampa as well, I'll be back at it, finishing up Saturday's card after I get off here and after I eat some food. So talk to you next week. This has been your Future Stars Friday forecast with Ren Carruthers and Matt. Adios.